turns into the frog.
The frog and Finn story.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. It was really neat taking stuff that the frog learned, and then as he came out of the semi-hypnotic trance, taking that stuff with him. So it was kind of like almost like not implied that he was the frog.
So a transformation that the frog was making and making the connection with the... Yeah.
Right. This is neat.
So the idea of metaphor you're beginning to get is to tap into that unconscious part of us that makes sense out of the story. And the real masters, like David Gordon, for example, and John Grinder, and there's some good examples out there on video and even written stories. And I think there's a audio tape set that may still be sold by NLP Comprehensive called Stories That Change People by David Gordon. Some great examples of how to, weave therapeutic sort of ideas and stuff into metaphor. And we're going to sort of get to that as we get closer to the end of the day today. To actually take, the final exercise will be to take an NLP technique and turn it into a metaphor. So it's kind of that present state, desired state that you find out from the person, find out the differences, and then build that into a metaphor when you've chosen a technique, a circle of excellence or a change personal history or whatever. And that's what you'll be getting to at the end of the day today. So, anything else? There was another hand. Yes, Ken.
This was the first time that I ever know that I have listened to somebody's story and thought about it from their point of view. I've always listened to the story and decided what I liked out of it, which is what I was doing when you walked up and said, wait, this is what I heard.
Right.
And that was really good then.
Really listening to the story and finding out what was significant about it for them.
Yeah. That was a good change.
Yeah, it's the the basis, the fundamental basis of therapy, right? Is to hear a person's story, but not to assume what the themes are and so on, but to find out what's important about that story for them. Just telling the story is important, or what parts of the story are important. That's where the meta model comes in, right? To really elicit that information, get those details. Somebody else was asking on break about this manipulation idea has come up again. And this is a good time to talk about that, because metaphor, you have to be careful with metaphor in terms of how you deliver it and what are the themes that you're putting into it. And do you have it set up in an ecological way? Because in most cases, if you're not ecological with the story, there's going to be resistance to the story. The unconscious will resist whatever is being introduced. So that's why telling a story in a more sort of general sense allows the unconscious to take from it what it wants and to turn it into something valuable, versus being very specific in a story. So then he did this, and then he did that, and then he learned this, and then he learned that. Right? It's very conscious. And if I don't want to learn that, or I don't like that idea, then I can easily block it. So part of what you're learning today is to build in that ecology and keep it general enough that they can really absorb it easily, that they can take it into their experience easily. I mean, in the early days, when Bandler and Grinder were really experimenting a lot, they were doing a lot of things that were questionable in ecological, terms. Using language that may sound offensive and doing different kinds of things that you weren't sure about, like helping somebody to forget their name, like I did, right? And with great power, you can do a lot of things, and that's why I think NLP has been called manipulative in a lot of senses. Is that it's a powerful technology, it's a powerful tool, and with somebody who can wield it well, a lot can happen, which is why the integrity part is so important, to make sure that you're delivering it with a win-win in mind, rather than in a manipulative, I want to control you kind of way. We've talked about, I don't know if you've talked about certification at all in here, but NLP Comprehensive certifies most people who come through the training if they're using it with integrity. It's the one area that we really pay attention to. And we've had participants in the past who have not, who have tried to use it in a way that's inappropriate, and they don't get certified. So that's one of the main reasons we wouldn't certify. Any other questions about that? Okay. Let's move on to the next exercise. This is a little fun one. This is kind of just a real playful little exercise. So let me have a couple of people up in front, please.
Oh, yes.
I'm not waiting anymore. I just choose.
Right. You.
Because I might not get volunteers for these.
You would not.
You wouldn't.
You would have.
This is called You Know.
Oh, boy. This is my exercise,
You
right?
step back just a little bit so they can see.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay. So who wants to be A and who wants to be B?
A.
B.
Okay. So here's how it goes. A looks up towards their visual construct. Do you know where that is?
She's A.
You're A.
Visual construct.
Exactly. Up here, right? So she looks up there and she says, you know, and makes a general statement like, life is like.
You know, life is life.
Like, life is like.
Life is like a bowl of cherries.
No. All you get to do is the beginning part.
Oh, okay. Life is like.
So you go, you know, life is like.
You know, life is like.
Exactly. Then B says, so you want this to be a large trunk kind of thing, like life, women, men, marriage, sports, a country, a continent, something big, something general. Okay? Then the second person, B, immediately looks up towards her visual construct, gestures in that direction, says, you know, repeats A's sentence, and finishes it for A by making a linkage with any fairly specific thing or event. So, you look up and you go, life is like
A life is
a rose bush.
life is like the Cold War.
Say a rose bush.
Rose
We're
bush.
gonna do the example here first. So you look up and you go, life is like a rose bush.
Life is like a rose bush.
Okay. Now it comes back to you. So you repeat B's statement, then quickly add a sentence describing why the first sentence is true, no matter how bizarre.
Okay.
So, got this so far? So she says, you know, life is like, she says, you know, life is like a rose bush.
Life is like a rose bush.
And then she says, life is like a rose bush because...
Because it can be so thorny.
Exactly. You have to watch out for the thorns. Okay? So she makes the linkage between those two. So let's do another example. Life is like again, you know?
Life is like.
This time a circus.
A circus.
So say the whole thing.
Life is like a circus.
Life is like a circus.
It's full of clowns.
Oh, it's full of clowns.
Okay? Got the idea? All right. Now you're going to do one of your own. Ready?
Okay.
So you start.
Yeah, life is like.
You know, life is like a river.
Life is like a river. Because life is like a river because you're always paddling upstream.
Very nice. Very nice. Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. There you go. Forrest Gump, right? Life is like a box of chocolates because
You never know.
you never know what you're going to get. Family is like a banana.
Peel it and look at something.
The tenderness is revealed when peeled. Okay, so that's the idea, is to just get into the flow with this, and you can use, as I said, the beginning statement that A makes has to be something big, something general. Life, family, marriage, whatever it might be. The second person needs to repeat back. So life is like a rose bush. And then A gets that back, and A says, makes the linkage. It's like a rose bush. It's full of thorns. However that goes. Any questions about what you're to do?
It's like, though, right? You have to use like or as or something.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the pattern. Life is like, family is like, business is like, sports are like, men are like. Yeah. Keep it simple, keep it fun. And I'd like to do this in groups of 3. That way, 2 of you will be playing and 1 can be observing and sort of just taking in what happens and maybe be coming up with the next general statement to make. So you'll have A and B will just keep switching around the circle as you go. Any questions about that? Any questions about what to do? It's on your page 6 if you want to look at your notes. And have fun with this. Notice the response of your partners as you do the explanation. If you're A and you do the explanation, notice how they receive that. Notice how they go, yeah, or they go, or they go. Okay? So it's like reframing. You know, when you do a reframe, you kind of watch and see if the person goes, yeah, and they take the reframe. It's kind of that idea. Does the metaphor that you use, does it fit with their world? Because if it fits, they'll go, yeah. Or they'll go, no. Okay? Go for it. Did you have some fun with that one?
Yeah. That's great.
That's kind of a brain loosener, you know? Start getting that metaphor flowing a little bit. So metaphor is like a statement or a story that at first doesn't make sense. And soon something emerges. Isn't that fun?
It's amazing that we can make sense of that.
Now it makes sense. Before it doesn't make sense.
There's more meaning than it had before.
Maybe, there's some, but still, I cannot visualize it.
Well, if I read it as it first was there, that is, that is not, is that, it is. And then I read it, that is. That is not, is not. Is that it? It is. Now it makes sense. Yeah. Okay, ready for the next one? Next exercise? Okay. Looks like we need an A, a B, and a C again. Let's... Cheryl looks away. Not me again. Let's have these 2 guys, Oliver and Brent. Take the stage. All right. A, B.
Okay.
So A makes a statement that has some significance to them. I like to play soccer. I'm going to give you the first one.
Okay.
Make it simple.
Okay. So that I like to play soccer.
B and C now. B and C.
Okay.
Choose a content area for each other. So I'll pick a content area for you that you're going to use to paste his statement. So your content area is a business meeting. Okay?
Okay.
And then you pick one for me.
First, family.
Sorry?
Family.
Family. Okay.
Will that work?
I'm probably can make it work. Let's find out. So then as soon as, so then we have to sort of work out